Okay, I believe we are live. It looks like everything's working this time. Had a few little hiccups with some networking stuff. Lost power earlier. I appreciate you all if you're joining me on my stream today, tuning in on this Saturday afternoon. We'll go ahead and get right into things. Today we are going to be doing a little hobby hangout and talking about months, or sorry, not months, weeks. Feels like months sometimes, believe me, and that'll make more sense in just a little bit. Today we're working on this guy here. This is an Orc Warboss from Games Workshop. Gonna be finishing him up. It's my current project. As those of you, most likely if you're watching this, you were following me on Facebook and maybe even Twitch before that, and just let you know I certainly appreciate you joining me on YouTube. But anyway, you may know that I was doing a New Year's resolution for a new year, a new army, and I was going to go through step by step and show you how to assemble models, paint, and also show you my progress with everything. Well, some resolutions don't always stick, shall we say, and I wasn't really able to fulfill on the forgive me, I forgot my head where it was, the step-by-step promise there. But what I am going to try to do is get back in line and keep that up and continue to work on the army. And when I do get to a point where I can show you builds, like for example with these guys, I'll go through one day and show you how to assemble models. Assembling is the easiest part, so that video probably won't be very long. Previously, I had a video on Facebook about how to do a test model, and that is what I did with this initial army. I went through and did a single orc boy model, painted it up from start to finish, saw that I liked the paint scheme, how everything looked, and that's what I decided to use. From that point, I did this. Oh man, the glare. I took notes on that day of every paint color that I used. And that makes sure that when I go through each model, I stay consistent. Because I'm getting older, not old, but I'm older, and my memory's not always the most consistent, so I want to make sure that I'm keeping good track of everything. So, update on where we are with everything. Here's where we are. I have 30 orc boys done as of today, Saturday, March 10th, 2018. So just over a month to complete these 30. I think I finished them, a week ago or so, something like that. Maybe not quite a week ago, earlier this week maybe. But it took just over a month to do those 30. And it was a long process because, as you can see from the picture, each one of them is different. I can't really tell you that there's a good way to assembly line orc models. It's just you got to do it. And it can be tough because each guy is different and it is a horde army. And so you're left with this mentality that I have to make these look right. If you're me, there's so many. When I started, orcs was the first army. I'm sure many of you have heard me say this before. Orcs was the first army that I ever got into in 40K. And I kept it all of about 6 months because once I realized that my painting level at that time just wasn't up to par, I knew that I would do them a disservice, so I abandoned them. Always in the back of my mind wanting to come back to orcs and do them, but finally, after all these years, I've done it, and I'm taking the plunge feet first. So the 30 boys here, I've got to duplicate at least 2 more times. I plan on having a minimum of 90. Probably play games when I get to 60, but at least get to 90. That is my goal. So, where are we now? You can see back here that there are some, I'll go ahead and pick the camera up, it's not going to hurt it, that there are some orc boys, and this guy's kind of hiding in shadow because he's primed black, but I've also built a knob with a wall banner out of some scratch parts that I had left over from Chaos Space Marines and some Warhammer Fantasy parts and some orc bits here and there. He will probably be the model I paint as a reward after doing my next 30. Why I say reward is oftentimes when you're painting something like this, a Horde army, or even any 40K army, really, you can get kind of in a rut, if you will. You go through and do so much infantry, so much with a vehicle, or this or that. And sometimes, even for me, it can become monotonous. So, what I like to do is a model that really interests me, that I'm proud of, if I've done a conversion, or just something that really is interesting to me, I use as a reward. And in this case, since finishing my first 30, I'm using this Orc War Boss here as my reward model. Now, he comes with a little side note talking about making your army your own. I decided to go with the Bad Moons as my clan. Since the Bad Moons are kind of showy and ostentatious, I decided to give him an albino squig. Yes, that is correct, an albino squig. There we go. There's a little more light for us. I thought I had that on, but I didn't. So yeah, I finished this early this morning, and that will be a separate video talking about early in the morning. A little better light there. A little too much light for video, but good light for me. So let's see what we got. Let's see if that makes things better. Yeah, it makes it a little better for you. So this is the albino squig that I'm working on. Why albino, you may ask? Well, twofold. The Bad Moons are a orc tribe that, or clan, that fancies themselves as wealthy because they grow bigger teeth. And that is the orc currency, if you don't know the 40K lore. I'm sure most of you do watching this, but let's go ahead and fill you in if you didn't. And so they always get the most showy, flashy gear, the best items, things like that. Other orcs see it as a fair trade because you can just go knock the teeth out of Bad Moons, knock the teeth out of a Bad Moons, and hey, you got your money. So fair enough, hey, you grow them big, but we'll take them. And so I figured, well, the War Boss is probably paid top tooth for a special pet, and so I painted my squig to be albino. Makes sense to me, so it would be something rare. Now, the reason I painted it as an albino squig, is right there. That is my dog Daisy. and I call her Squiggle because she's got a little curly pig type tail. And so my albino squig is a nod to my dog. Um, just kind of a little inside joke for me, but now you know the joke. And so my albino squig is going to be named Princess Squigglebits in honor of Daisy, my dog. So let me do one last thing before we get into painting, and I'll try to keep this brief, and I know I'm not so great at that, but turn my light up there so I can see what I'm doing. And that is talking about the future of this channel and what I hope to accomplish with it. Well, that is still kind of up in the air. You see, I do want to definitely keep it a hobby channel, and I do want to show the steps that I take to complete models and to help you become a better painter. But quite frankly, the world is saturated with those things, and I don't know if mine is special in any way other than it's me. I like to believe I'm special in some ways, but I guess everybody does. Maybe it's because I do real time. I'm trying to make it unique in that way and keeping the live stream format, keeping it a live program. I believe that live streaming is not necessarily a new frontier, but it is an area that is not too heavily explored in our hobbying. So I would like to keep it that way. Now, just to also give you a little full disclosure, believe it or not, from the quality of this stream, I'll leave it up to you whether or not you believe me. But my day job is doing media production, and in that media production, we have started streaming more over the years, and I head up and design a lot of the streams. Now, what I can tell you, our streaming process, what I can tell you about that is while streaming is easy, doing streaming well is not cheap. And you have to find, if you want to do it cheap, it's possible, but you have to find inexpensive solutions that work well. What I'm using right now is a program called Wirecast Go, and it is designed to do things like you see the lower third little graphic with my show title on the screen. It does the different scenes that you've seen where I can show the pictures of the orcs and show my dog and all that stuff. So it's a nice little program, and it runs directly from my phone. I'm a firm believer in not stealing from my job. I think most people are. So I'm not going to borrow equipment from my place of employment to do these streams. I'm just not going to do that. So I do have some ideas for implementation in place for taking this up a notch in the future. What that would involve is there's a full version of Wirecast where you can actually have cameras coming in. I would like to do live streams of battle reports, narrative-focused battle reports, because that's what I enjoy. I'm a filthy casual, guys. Sorry to let you down, but I am. And maybe event feeds of some nature, where I walk the floor of some place or something. It's open right now is what I'm getting at. But I definitely want to keep it focused on hobby time and gaming for those of us who life is filled with work, filled with school, filled with responsibilities, us normal folks. I'm not going to pretend that I can devote 20, 30 plus hours a week to this channel. But the time I get, I enjoy sharing it with people. And the reason being is I've always enjoyed teaching. and sharing what I've learned. Even if I'm not the best at something, I still like to give people a leg up so they'll be better than me in the future. And I would like to continue to do that. Let me go ahead and move my camera a little bit more, folks. Center up my model since I'm doing an inaugural stream, and I doubt very seriously anybody joins this live. But if you do, just know that I have a chat feed open, and I will occasionally glance over to see if you're talking to me. So, yeah, that's a thing. But I would like very much to bring the knowledge I have of video production, streaming, to this channel in the future, but I do want to do it honest and buy equipment on my own. I need a computer anyway because I don't have one anymore. I had one several years ago, but I don't. I just have a phone, as many of us do. But I'd like to get a laptop, put Wirecast on it, do multi-camera so I can have different angles of what I'm working on, because you can actually get some pretty decent little consumer cameras for not very much now. And I would like to use something like that to kind of give you guys different angles to see stuff. I think that would help. Then I would also like to be able potentially to do battle reports, but do them live and do them with multi-camera, do them with graphics, do them right. Let people see what's going on. See how much I get the rules wrong. You can correct me in real time because I'm sure I'll mess up. But that is the ultimate plan for the channel, is to do streams of stuff I enjoy. I may even do some streams of RPG games. That's a big thing that I've done for a long time. It falls into hobby gaming, which is really what this channel is about. I have a lot of interest, just not a lot of time to do them. But the main thing I do have time to do is painting. Now, I will tell you that I'm working on a consistent shoot schedule, but you may not like the schedule. There may be live streams of me just talking to no one for quite some time until I get viewers in Europe, maybe. The reason I say that is because I wake up very early to get my hobbying done now, in order to keep my New Year's resolution of getting 2,000 points done before the end of the year, which I really do believe I'm going to be able to easily achieve. I have to get up early because I work late a lot. That's also one of the big things that's kept me from streaming these past few weeks is work. It just happens to the best of us, I suppose. But this time of year it gets a little better. Nevertheless, I do have a problem. It's a cute problem. That little squiggle dog I was telling you about is a very, 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 very hyper dog. She's not really growing out of it. We hoped she would, but my wife, who is a saint, by the way, is actually outside with her right now playing. You may actually even hear barking in the background. I don't know. I can hear her. Headphones on and everything. I can. But yeah, she's a handful. But she's not so bad early in the morning, say 5 o'clock. I've been having an issue with insomnia as it is lately. So I'll get up on mornings and I'll wake up around 5 and I'll paint. Now, that works great for me. Means I can get some content out there. It does not work so great for you guys, I'm sure, joining me live. Unless you're super early birds, in which case, hey, join me. I'll keep it consistent, time, I'll try to keep these things going live. I'll do them every day. If you guys want that, just leave me a comment if you want me to do those, either now or, after watching the channel. I know it is a unique thing, streaming live, and I realize I need to be where my audience is when my audience is in this case. But I also know that if I, put some paint in the wrong spot. If I want to be able to get anything out for you guys consistently, I'm going to have to do that. I'm going to have to stream when I can. So, yeah, it may just be a early morning paint fest, and you can join me and get your breakfast and tune in and chat with me. Kind of like the morning news, the morning hobby. And let me give you guys a little bit of advice. If you can stand at all to get up early and you have a 9 to 5 job or you have school that starts at 8 or whatever, you can get some serious stuff done. Now, here's the thing. I work an average of 50 plus hours a week. And that's not including random times that I have to get called for some problem or, just life. And my schedule's really erratic. That's the other thing. It wouldn't be such a big deal if it was just an hour later, a couple hours later here and there. But, believe it or not, a 10, 12-hour day, it doesn't sound so bad, but I'm sure any of you guys out there who work that can attest to is so a lot of times when you work that schedule, you just don't want to do anything else when you get home. And if it is, it's probably spending time with your family. That's more important. And, in my case, I got to take care of Hyperdog. Because if I was trying to do this and she was sleepy or not sleepy and I didn't have my saint of a wife watching after her right now, she would be going crazy and I couldn't stream. I couldn't do it. So, yeah, that's the thing. It's finding the time when you can, and it's a teachable moment. So I think I'll try, unless I just get a lot of objections. I think I'll try streaming early in the morning, and you guys can join me after and tell me what you think of it, yay or nay, or join me during if you want to. Hey, maybe I can be your motivation to get up early and get that done. When daylight savings time hits here in a day, I may actually use it to go exercise some days where I'm, not feeling the painting bug. So there's things I can do and time I can find in my life. And that's really what to make a long story even longer, that's what I'm getting at is find the time that you have. Think about your day and what you're willing to do to find the time for yourself to do what you want in your life. And yes, we all have obligations, but prioritizing what you want to get done, and if you really want to paint, you can find the time to do it. And that's what I had to really just get real with myself about. And I'll be honest with you, this channel helped me find that perspective. Making that resolution made me realize, if I get out there and look at my day, I was having trouble sleeping anyway, but I would just wake up and get on my phone. Well, that's 2 hours every morning, or 1.5 every morning that I could be painting. So if I do that 5 days a week, I've got 7.5 hours that I could spend painting every week. That's 7.5 hours I found to do stuff. That's amazing. That's nearly a full workday of time to paint. And that's why I was able to finish those 30 boys, taking my time and doing them right in a month. And I didn't batch paint them really. I did like 4 models at a time. And I may do more now that I've got my paint scheme down and my rhythm for the next group. But really, yeah, I mean, I just 4 at a time, picked through them, didn't rush, just wasn't trying to speed paint. I was just trying to get stuff painted in general. And yeah, I was really surprised, pleasantly surprised how well that went. So my thought is the rumors are the Orc Codex is coming out in June, and if I keep tracking this way, I'm gonna have my army, maybe not 2,000 points worth, but a significant starter force ready to go for that codex to drop. And then I can figure out where I want to go from there with my painting and stuff. It's pretty cool. So let's talk a little bit about this right here. This is called sub-assembling your models, okay? And it's something I think we should go over, and probably a good spot to go out on this stream. And when I come back for the next one, I will be hopefully further done with this war boss, and I can kind of show you maybe even a completed model and where he is. But this is a good hobby tip for you. Sub-assembly. So this is a wine cork that I had, and a paper clip. And what I did is I drilled a hole in this little notch here. I don't know if you can see that or not. Yeah, it notches into his back right there. Yeah. And I took a little hobby drill, a little pin vise, and drilled a hole in that because it's going to just get glued on. And the reason I do that is because you can paint so much easier if everything is sub-assembled like that. You can, if I had put this backpack on his back, it would have obscured the shoulder plates. It would have obscured the straps on his back, his shirt, the skin. It would have made it not impossible, but way more difficult to paint him. And so that's why I did a sub-assembly. Now the rest of him, he can pretty much get to all the other angles. But that particular spot, I went ahead and did that. And I've done that with a lot of the orcs, actually. On the guys with the rocket launchers, I left the heads off because it was really tough to. I did one with the head on, and I found it really difficult to paint him with his head on. So I took it off, put it on a stick, and primed it on the cork and did sub-assembling. And I recommend, if you have a model that you look at when you start dry fitting pieces together that is just going to be a nightmare to paint in a certain area, see if you can do a sub-assembly. I don't think you have to sub-assemble everything. Like, I don't have to leave this individual arm off, or this arm, or the head. I mean, could I? Sure, but there's no point. And just look for those really hard to get to areas when you start dry fitting. And it really, while it may feel like it takes longer at the start, when you want to do a good job, it really is a time saver because you're not having to go back over when you accidentally bump your brush on a part of the model you shouldn't with a color you don't want on there. So I think that's a good little tip to go out on. I really appreciate you all watching this stream, and I really appreciate you all uh, sticking with me as I figure out what I'm doing with this channel. Now, if you like what I'm doing, go ahead and subscribe. The reason being is not so much for monetization or anything like that, because there's no way I ever feel like I'll be above. If I get 100 subscribers, I win, because what 100 subscribers allows me to do is name my channel a custom name. It allows me to do different stream rates and give you a better quality stream. So if you have friends that you know that are into the hobby, the content that I'm doing, this live stream, casual Bob Ross type format that I'm going for, appeals to you and you think maybe it will appeal to them, then yeah, please share. And that would be just the best thing if you could subscribe, share, hit the little bell next to the subscribe button so you'll get notifications when I'm streaming. Or don't hit the bell if you don't want to be woken up at 5 a.m. if I decide to go that route. It's up to you. But just subscribing is a huge, huge help. And, if there's something that I'm not doing right or you feel could be improved, I am all about hearing that too. I really want this channel to be, no matter even if it stays small, I want it to be kind of a cozy place where people can dialogue and feel like you're getting support for the things that you're doing as well, because that's really what it's about. It's about supporting you guys with what you're doing, as well as keeping myself motivated. Really, the channel was started for that very reason. Is, yeah, I want to help people, but I also kind of wanted to help myself. And so keeping things going is pretty valuable to me. And I appreciate everybody tuning in and joining me. And hopefully I'll be doing this again really, really soon. I also have a Facebook page as well. You can search for Mere Mortal Hobbies on Facebook, and I will be updating that as well and regularly posting information about upcoming streams or trying to get feedback and just generally trying to grow this channel. So thanks again for joining me today, and until next time, happy hobbying.